Hey guys, right now I'm headed up to Tactical Defense Institute for Handgun 4 and 5, and I thought I'd cover some stuff for you while I was driving. In recent weeks I've been reading a book called Inside Delta Force by Eric Haney, and really interesting book, but I have now read a book about Delta from General Boykin. I have now almost finished a book by Eric Haney. The next one that I'm going to be reading is by Colonel Beckwith, who at the time that he wrote it, I think had retired from Delta. And what I'm getting at is this: the thing that I have consistently found in the handgun training of Delta, and also picking up some tidbits from people that are current SF, and also people that have trained with SF. Dave Spalding, one of them, who's actually picked up a lot of things from Special Forces guys, and he's picked these things up 20 plus years ago. They had already seen then that we were heading toward handgun combat, or we were heading toward small, fast, hyper-violent confrontations that were handgun based. Eric talks about the fact that the reason that many times police officers fail in confrontations is because, as cops, we are trained to focus on that front sight, focus on that front sight. That's the way I was trained. I'm sure that's the way cops are still being trained. Delta guys were, and I trust probably still are, trained to essentially point shoot. And when I say point shoot, I'm not really talking about, you know, the cowboy slinging the gun type thing. I'm talking more about like what Bill Rogers does. And if you ever had a chance, if you ever get a chance to do the Rogers range, oh my goodness, do it. It will transform your life. Do it. I did it, and it was humbling, but it actually showed me that I have a natural point of aim that's just kind of hardwired into my brain, which is really cool, because I didn't really know how I was going to fare at Rogers range. But anyways, so he talks about point shooting. He talks about focusing on where you need your shot to go, rather than focusing on the front sight and trying to kind of wobble that front sight to get it there. The whole crux of this video is simply this. My buddy Doug and I were out on his range. By the way, the range that I shoot on is actually my buddy Doug's range, and we were out on his range shooting a couple weeks ago, and we were just doing a very basic drill, which was facing our target at about 15-ish, 20 feet, and drawing from concealment and getting the weapon up between our eyes and the target, which is how it works. There were some instances, we were kind of playing a game where we would hit the target and it would swing back, and as it would swing back forward again, we had to find our point of impact and hit it again to arrest that target so that it wouldn't fall forward. And the times where that target swung back on Doug and it started coming back forward again, in one instance, I watched him shoot the target. It swung back. He thought it was going to fall back. The weeds behind the target caught it and started coming back forward again. He'd already lowered his gun, and almost instantly he snapped that gun up and he goes tap, 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 and he basically went 1, 2, 3, and he just punched that target and just flopped it back into the berm. And I went, see, you weren't aiming, you were reacting, and you nailed that thing. We are wired as human beings to have hand-eye coordination. Some of us have better hand-eye coordination than others, and if you're trained properly, you can translate that into firearms. And one of the things that I picked up from Dave Spalding, in fact, I'm actually going to read it to you because I don't want to get it wrong. He says, sports physiologists have known for many years that you can spend weeks building a skill to its sharpest edge, and on Friday be able to do the skill to an exceptional level that can be accomplished without thought. Take the weekend off and get up on Monday morning, and as much as 20% of that skill can be lost. You go to work, you go to school, you go to church, you live your life, you love your family, you praise God, you know, you're a productive American, but you're not training. You're not helping yourself. Guys, you're not helping yourself. You are a rolling disaster waiting to happen, but the worst part is you don't even know it. You have to get out to training. Guys, if you are focused on being the best Tier 1 citizen that you can be, you have to invest your time and your efforts into training with your firearms, and I would highly urge you to train with your handgun first and foremost. In fact, just call it, for every 5 classes that you go to, make sure that at least 4 of those classes are handgun based. If not entirely handgun, at least a great deal of that training really should be handgun. And let's face it, if you're doing any other discipline, rifle or shotgun, there's going to be very little handgun in there. So really, your 4 classes out of 5 really need to be handgun based. And when I say classes, I don't mean 4 hours on the range. I don't mean a 1-day refresher. I mean a minimum of a 2-day class, preferably a 3-day class, or like the one that I'm getting ready to do, a 4-day class. People seem to think they're going to rise to the occasion, but really they're actually going to fall back to that level of training that they have anchored. Okay, so just because you've been to a class and you haven't done anything else for 6 months, a year, whatever, whoop-de-doo. All that work that you did is erased, unless you took those precepts, took them to the range and worked on them. They're erased, they're gone, just because of human physiology and how it works. That's what I got for you guys today. As always, I thank you for watching. God bless you all. Get those guns out in practice. Have a good one.